And good Tuesday morning. Welcome to episode 52 of the Inside Drive podcast. Excited about our show today. We feature a lot of local athletes, a lot of local people in the community. Excited to have Becca Harden on the show with us today. She's the president of the Bay County Economic Alliance. And then, of course, it's been a few weeks now, but with the Players Championship coming up this week, we'll be joined by Keith Fleming via phone at 11:30. Before we get to Miss Becca, I want to talk about the official juice of the Inside Drive podcast. That is Juice and Sunsets. Most people aren't getting the vitamins and nutrients their bodies truly need from everyday foods alone. Busy schedules, processed meals, and depleted soil make it harder than ever to fuel our bodies properly. When your body is undernourished, it can't perform at its best, energy drops, immunity weakens, and inflammation creeps in. Fresh, nutrient-dense juices are a simple, powerful way to bridge that gap. They deliver essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants in a form that your body can easily absorb, helping you feel better, think clearer, and make healthier choices one sip at a time. Visit Juice and Sunsets on Facebook to learn more, or head over to juiceandsunsets.com to place your order for pickup or delivery. And of course, my good buddy over there at Golf Plus. If you're looking to elevate your golf game with a custom-fitted clubs and pro-level gear, step right into Golf Plus, a golf retail and fitting destination with roots stretching back to its founding in Dothan, Alabama back in 1988. At Golf Plus, the focus is simple: get you fitted right. They use industry-leading technology like the Foresight Game Changer 2 launch monitor in not one but two golf simulators, and advanced shaft matching systems to dial in the perfect club for your swing, whether it's a full new set or a retrofit of your current clubs. But Golf Plus is more than just clubs. They're a full-service shop, from expert grip work, loft and lie adjustments to quality repairs, and a curated selection of top brands. You'll find everything you need to play your best. And now, with its renovated golf shop in Panama City Beach, golfers visiting the Gulf Coast and locals alike can enjoy a premium fitting experience and apparel selection right next to the sandy beaches. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned player, Golf Plus delivers personalized service, cutting-edge technology, and gear you can trust. Book your custom fitting or stop by today, because the right equipment can make all the difference out there on the course. They are located in the shops of Edgewater next to Firefly. You can give them a call at 850-249-2726 or visit them online at golfplusretail.com. I'm excited about this newest sponsor. Before we get rolling today, the Back Nine in Panama City Beach. If you love golf, this place is unreal. They have state-of-the-art indoor golf simulators where you can play some of the most iconic courses in the world and get real data on your swing. The best part, they are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can grind on your game anytime you want. Even better, check out their memberships: unlimited tee time, 24-hour access, bring your buddies, plus discounts on merchandise and events. Founding memberships are currently on sale, which include a lifetime of discounts. Rain or shine, day or night, the Back Nine is the spot to play. Go find the Back Nine on PCB on Facebook, or head over to theback9golf.com/Panama City Beach and book your bay today. Soft opening currently scheduled for April 6th. They are located in the Magnolia Plaza off Navy Boulevard, right next to Publix. Join now and be part of the new way to play golf. Before we jump into American Charlie's sponsorship, I do want to mention our American Charlie's Athlete of the Week. Typically, I do a high school Athlete of the Week, but this one I just couldn't pass. That's Valerie Solorio. She's a former Bay County wrestler at Mosley and then moved to Pennsylvania her senior year, and now she's a wrestler for Iowa. The women's wrestling inaugural national championship happened this past weekend. She won the national championship for the 103-pound weight class. So the fact that we have a former local wrestler here in Bay County win a national championship is pretty darn special, and I wanted to make sure we included her in today's show. And speaking of special, our American Charlie's Athlete of the Week sponsor is American Charlie's, your favorite American restaurant, located right there again in the shops of Edgewater, just like all my other sponsors, it seems. They're your favorite American restaurant, conveniently located in the shops of Edgewater next to Rocket Lanes and Firefly. They've got great daily specials, private rooms for all sorts of parties that you want to have out there, tons of TVs for all your sporting events, military and first responder discounts daily, all your American favorites: fried chicken, pot roast, wings, burgers, shrimp, all those classic American dishes. They're now on DoorDash, so you can get your American favorites delivered right to your door. Daily happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. in conjunction with the early eager menu, which is $14 entrees that includes 2 sides. Go check out American Charlie's. They support the Bay County athletes. Go support them as well. I did want to mention, before we dive into our conversation with Miss Becca, we had Sarah Brandt. She's the women's wrestling coach for Bay High in studio with us last week. just a recap of all the local wrestlers that competed down there at the state championships at the Silver Spurs Arena in Kissimmee, Florida. Bay High had Sarah Brandt. She ended up finishing 8th place, with earned her 8th place or better. You earned a medal at the state championship. So congratulations to Sarah, Anna's daughter, for such an amazing year in girls wrestling. From Mosley High School, you had Torina Rushing. She also finished 8th. From North Bay Haven, you had Nova Estrada. She finished 2nd. Bear Siegel, who finished 8th. Koa Deloche, who finished 2nd. And then William McKenzie, who finished 6th. And then last but not least, we had David Crilly from Arnold, who finished 7th. Julian Rosavi, who finished 8th, again for Arnold. And then Tajay Richards finished 4th for Arnold High School. And now let's get to Miss Becca. Today we've got a great guest joining us in the studio. She plays a major role in shaping the future of our local economy here in Bay County. Becca Hardin is the president of the Bay County Economic Alliance, an organization that works behind the scenes to recruit new businesses, support local industry, and create jobs right here in our community. From attracting major employees to helping grow opportunities for the next generation, Becca and her team are helping drive the economic momentum we're seeing across Bay County. Today, we're going to talk about the growth of our area, what companies we are looking for that are considering relocating here, and of course, what the future of Bay County could look like over the next decade. Becca, thanks for joining us on the Inside Drive podcast today. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Ryan. It's an honor to be here. A little fun fact for you before we dive into what's going on in the local economy. You have local athletes on your show. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people don't know that I was a collegiate athlete.
Awesome.
I played basketball at Troy State University.
And the men's team I saw just won back-to-back Sunbelt Conference Championships.
Sunbelt Conference Championships.
That had to be an exciting experience.
Yeah, and the women did great this year too. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a long time ago, I was an athlete too.
I love it. Once an athlete, always an athlete.
That's right. That's right.
So first off, tell us a little bit about your journey to become the president of the Bay EDA.
Well, I've been here going on 12 years. It's hard to believe it. I was recruited here by my predecessor, Neil Wade, who was ready to move on and start an economic development school through the University of Alabama. At that time, the airport was relatively new and was just a jewel ready for development. I was in Columbus, Georgia, and did a lot of work with Pratt & Whitney, which is part of Raytheon. So I had a lot of background in aviation recruitment. And Neil recruited me to come down and lead the efforts of the Bay County Economic Development Alliance, really specifically to help build up the local area specific to aviation, but we've really worked to diversify our economy through different types of advanced manufacturing projects and marine-centric projects. So we have really had success in manufacturing over the past couple of years.
And two of our bigger industries, obviously tourism, which the airport brings in a lot of tourists, and then obviously the waters, the marine side of things, which is probably our second biggest part of our economy here in our area. For listeners who may not know yet, what exactly does the Bay EDA do for Bay County?
It's all about jobs. You know, we want to bring in good jobs. We want to help our local companies grow and create more jobs in their specific industries. And then we recruit new companies. We market Bay County around the world, literally. And we bring in new companies that create jobs with a above average wage of the county and bring in capital, and they're investing into the economy of our community.
Absolutely. All things to help us. Everybody benefits from what y'all do. This is a question I had, but you've already answered it. Who originally drew you to not here, I guess, who originally drew you to economic development work as a whole?
It's funny, I tell people I have a diverse background. I guess early in my career, I had a hard time keeping a job. But in this studio, this all looks familiar to me because when I was at Troy University, I had a degree in broadcast journalism and public relations. My first job out of college was at WRBL, which is a CBS affiliate in Columbus, Georgia, where I was a beat reporter and weekend anchor. So awesome. I'm used to working in a studio like this.
So you're not afraid of talking in front of people or the camera.
And it's really, that's been a great experience for me. I did that for about 4 years. Met my husband, who had a family business in the area, and decided I needed to get a job where I didn't work every weekend and every holiday.
Yep.
So I went corporate and worked in human resources for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Georgia for 9 years. And I was in Atlanta all the time, and my kids were little, and I had remembered interviewing the president of the Chamber of Commerce when I was at the TV station, and I was friends with him, and I called him up one day, and I was like, I need a job that keeps me in Columbus. And he said, well, I have an economic development project manager job open. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, what does that do? I didn't even know what the job entailed. And then I took that job. Within a year, I was promoted to the executive vice president of over the team, and I did that for almost 14 years at the Columbus, Georgia Chamber before I was recruited to come to Bay County.
And the rest is history, right?
The rest is history. Yeah.
What's something about your job that most people would be surprised to learn?
It's what specific to our team. There's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
There's 3 paid employees. And so, there are a lot of volunteers and leaders in this community that are involved in what we do. I've worked in other communities. As a matter of fact, I had 6 counties when I was in Georgia that I covered. And it's been a joy to work in Bay County because I've never had a community that everyone is on the same page as far as doing good things for the people that live in this community. And when I call folks to help me with a prospect visit, even at the highest level, people drop everything that they have going on to come and help do what we do. So that's kind of surprising that we're such a small staff, but we pull on a lot of people in the community that help us with this effort. And it's really led to our success in that people have bought in and are supportive of our efforts.
And again, kind of getting back to how Bay County is such a special place with its people, with its environment, with what we have to offer here. That is crazy that you guys bring in billions of dollars worth of capital with just 3 people on staff, but that makes sense that it's kind of a joint effort between the entire community. What industries are growing the fastest right now in Bay County?
Right now, obviously aerospace. Yeah. We've got, hopefully, knock on wood, within this year, we'll have two projects under construction at the airport. One is IAG Aero Group, which is a jet engine maintenance company. They're headquartered in Miami. They want to grow their operations here. They also have operations in Europe and Italy. They'll be building a 120,000 square foot maintenance facility at our airport. The biggest part of this project is they're going to be building a $75 million jet engine test cell.
Yep.
And it's 500 jobs.
And I've always heard you say when a company builds a test cell, that means they're going to be there for the long term.
They're not moving. I helped Pratt & Whitney in Georgia get some state money to build 2 test cells in Columbus, Georgia. And it's a substantial investment, so they're not going to leave your community after making investments like that. They've already bought a building in the city of Lynn Haven, 140,000 square feet, where they've got about 40 employees working already. But this is the biggest project we've announced with a joint venture between the Economic Development Alliance and the Airport Authority. 500 jobs, average wage $65,000 a year, and $107 million capital investment. And if you look at the trickle-down effect of not only the primary jobs, but the secondary jobs this project will create, is really long-term a huge economic boon for the economy. So we've got that one. Hopefully we'll be going under construction very soon. We also have Premier Aviation, which is a Canadian maintenance, repair, and overhaul company that is going to be building a 120,000 square foot maintenance facility at the airport adjacent to the runway, 250 jobs, $35 million capital investment, and we hope to have that one under construction as well. We are working with Parker McClellan, who's the executive director of the airport, a very close partner of ours, and his team to now start to strategically develop another 350 acres north of the terminal, and that'll be our next site as we recruit new companies coming in. So it's exciting to see that these projects are getting close to being under construction. Another area that is really a growing industry for us is marine manufacturing. You said it before, we're surrounded by water, so it makes sense for us to target boat manufacturing. Just this year, last month, we announced that Voltari Electric Incorporated, which is a Canadian manufacturing company that manufactures electric motored boats on carbon fiber hulls, is going to be expanding operations here in Bay County. They are moving their R&D. This will be their U.S. headquarters. They do battery manufacturing and boat manufacturing. 285 employees and about $40 million capital investment. And last week it was really cool. I don't know if you had a chance to see, but we had one of their boats here. It was in the water at the city marina, and we gave about 50 members of our leadership team rides on the boat. So everybody is really energized about the work that we're doing with Voltari.
You may not know this, but what's the benefits of having an electric motor versus the gas motor?
Well, you can't hear it. The reason that they needed to expand in the United States is that they're hyper focused on the defense industry.
Gotcha.
They already supply boats to the Navy SEALs in San Diego, California. They also do a lot of work with the Coast Guard in Canada. As a matter of fact, the boat they had here last year was part of what they built for the Canadian Coast Guard.
Gotcha.
And it was a prototype boat that we were able to use for testing and demonstration. But as they grow their defense work, they've got to have a bigger presence in the United States, obviously.
Makes sense, yeah.
And for the Navy SEALs specifically, because it's electric motor, you can't hear it running.
Sneak up on everybody.
You can sneak up on people, and
makes perfect sense.
it's great for roaming and hyper security. But not only can you not hear it, you can't smell it because there's no
exhaust,
fume,
not
and
burning
from
any
an
fuel.
infrared light, looking down from wherever the enemy may be, you can't see it. So it's a perfect vessel for the defense world. As a matter of fact, we met with Tyndall and the Navy base while they were here, and there may be some opportunities to partner here
Awesome.
locally.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. That's for sure. How competitive is Bay County compared to other places in Florida when companies are deciding where to locate?
Well, I tell you, the game-changing tool that we have in this part of Florida that the rest of the state doesn't have is the Triumph the Gulf Coast Fund, which is part of the BP oil spill monies that was settlement monies with the state of Florida. The 8 coastal communities in this part of the Panhandle, which Bay County is one, are in line to receive $1.2 billion through this Triumph the Gulf Coast Fund to help diversify our economy.
Yep.
Not away from tourism, because that's very important for
bread
us,
and butter
but
for sure.
just to make sure that we don't have all our eggs in the tourism basket and we diversify our economy and for the future if a disaster like that happens in the future. And I will say that Bay County has been super aggressive to work to get grants out of that fund. The Port Authority of Panama City was the first entity to actually get the very first grant from that fund. They used it to help build infrastructure at the East Port. Eastern Shipbuilding, our local shipper, was also successful early on in getting grant monies out of that fund. Our local educational partners have leveraged that fund. For us in economic development, it's safe to say that companies like IAG Aero Group, Premier Aviation, even Voltari, it would have been difficult for us to be successful in recruiting them without this fund because where we are in Florida, we compete with the Georgias, Alabamas, and Carolinas.
Yeah.
And I know how Georgia works economic development. We put a lot of money from the state standpoint into these projects. And honestly, if it were not for Triumph Gulf Coast, it would be very difficult for us to compete on the level that we're competing, and not only compete, but to win these projects that we're winning.
Absolutely. I've heard you talk about that before, but that makes perfect sense why we have a competitive advantage over a lot of other places. Obviously not something we wanted to happen to get, but I guess it is what it is at this point. What are some recent wins for Bay County that people may not realize happened behind the scenes?
Well, a couple of projects that we're super proud of, and they've already proven to be very successful, is Central Maloney Incorporated. We worked with the St. Joe Company, and we actually had an existing building in Venture Crossings Enterprise Center, which is at the airport campus, and we were able to get Central Maloney into the 140,000 square foot building. They have now hired close to 200 employees, and it was about a $25 million investment. And this is a great example of a project that reached into the local workforce and partnered with Haney Technical College. They're very involved with their welding program and their trades program, and we've created a workforce pipeline through our local educational partners to help staff Central Maloney, and it's been a super success story.
That's awesome. I can skip a question for later because I was going to ask you how the local schools, colleges, and technical programs help build a workforce for companies that they need, but you just pretty much said that's how it goes, which is awesome stuff. How has Bay County's economy changed over the last 5 to 10 years?
That is a great question. And it is dramatic how much has changed.
Yeah. Even the 10 years I've been here, it's drastically changed.
Well,
that's for sure.
and I tell people in another 5 years, you're
Yeah.
not going to recognize this place. And a lot of it has to do with, the commercial development that we see after the hurricane and the projects that we're bringing in, the residential development. We had a state economist speak at one of our EDA monthly meetings, and he said by the year 2030, which we're quickly
Yeah.
coming upon,
Very quickly.
we'll see an increase of population in Bay County alone of 35,000 people. And
And like you said earlier, that just bleeds through every industry in our entire area.
yeah, yeah, and we're bumping right up against 200,000 people in our area right now, just in Bay County. So we've seen the population grow, and we really started seeing things turn after the hurricane
Yep.
in 2018. As bad as it was, COVID gave us a couple of years to catch our breath.
Yep.
And I remember sitting in George Gonzalez's office, who's the president of St. Joe Company, and right after the hurricane, and he said, "Becca, we're about to take a 5-year development plan and turn it into 2." And that was really the start of the catalyst, that along with what the counties and cities were doing to clean up and rebuild,
Yep.
utilize federal money to rebuild. It really showed this community's resilience.
Absolutely.
And, there's construction. If you drive around Bay County right now, you see construction going on everywhere. So I do think that over the next 5 years, we're going to continue to see dramatic growth and dramatic change.
When businesses visit Bay County, what do they say stands out the most?
That's a great question, because I always say our goal is to get people to visit Bay County, because if you get people to visit, Bay County sells itself.
Yeah.
And it really does have the wow factor. And we always put guests up right on the beach, right on the Gulf.
Yeah.
And
Gotta give 'em the VIP treatment.
it is. We really roll out the red carpet, and we've literally had people visit Bay County from around the world. We are on the international radar screen right now. But I guess the interesting dynamic that a lot of people listening to your show may not realize is that when we host a red carpet tour, we do a community tour. And we typically bring in our leadership, from elected officials to county city managers to presidents of colleges. We do school tours, and let our community talk to the prospects. So it's not just us.
Yeah.
And
It kind of falls back on what you said earlier about you've got all these people volunteering to help bring these businesses and show off what we have
it's a
here in Bay
great
County.
team. And I've literally had CEOs pull me aside at the end of a site visit and ask me, "Do y'all have a script?" And I'm like, "No, why?" He said, "Because everywhere we've been, all of y'all have said the same thing." And I said, that's what we believe, and
Yep.
that's what we strive to do. And we are all moving in the same direction to bring good things to Bay County.
Absolutely. It is certainly a team effort, to say the least. What opportunities exist for younger people who want to stay in Bay County after graduating?
Well, I would really encourage a look at the trades. As a result of the work that we're doing at the airport, bringing in maintenance, repair, and overhaul companies. I mean, if you look between IAG Aero Group and Premier Aviation, that's 750 jobs.
Yep.
And Haney Technical College has done a fantastic job in ramping up their aviation mechanics program, their airframe and power plant program. We've gone from 2 instructors to 7.
Wow.
And we now have about 55 graduates a year. And Triumph Gulf Coast has invested in other trade universities throughout our region to create other A&P schools for aviation mechanics. And so we are now pulling from the region as far as A&P mechanic. And you can start a job if you have a certification at $60,000 a year.
Yeah, there's not many you
Which-
can find like that.
It's not chump change.
And I'm sure you're getting placed right from where you're going to school into that position as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good stuff.
From also welding, we have welders that that is in such high demand.
Yeah.
A lot of them get snapped up before they even complete certification. And if you're willing to move around and travel, you make 6 figures
Yep.
for just being I don't want to just downgrade it, but being a welder.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then from a professional standpoint, We see a great need for engineers, especially mechanical engineers with advanced manufacturing. When Randy Hanna came on board as dean of FSU PC, one of his main goals was to bring mechanical engineering to Florida State here in Panama City, and he did that. And we've continued to grow that discipline of engineering at FSU, and places like the Navy base are grabbing them up.
Absolutely.
And companies like Voltari and some of our local companies like Oceaneering are leveraging the engineering programs that FSU has. And then at Gulf Coast State College, all the disciplines that they have there, specific to IT and engineering and electronics. It's just there are many great opportunities to get good jobs in Bay County. Another target that we really focus on is retiring military. We think that's an excellent workforce pool for the companies that we're bringing in, because they retire at a young age, 38, 40 years old, and they've got a great work ethic because they're military trained, and they want to stay in paradise with their families. So it's incumbent on us to help them find good jobs. So there's a lot of traction and energy around the workforce talent right now.
Awesome stuff. A couple more questions before we let you go. What is the most common misconception people have about economic development?
That we just go on travel,
just
fun trips.
Hobnobbing with people all over the world.
Yeah, and that all we do is entertain and take people to dinner. But what we do is we negotiate deals, and every project's different, so every deal is customized. And just to put in perspective, one of the big shows that we do every year is the International Aviation Show, whether it's in Farnborough, outside of London, or Paris. And those are difficult shows because there's thousands and thousands of companies there. And we have every minute of every day planned with meetings before we even go over there. And it's back to back
all day,
meetings.
Every day.
We don't walk the halls. We have specific meetings with specific companies. And a lot of times it's repeat customers, and that's how we get traction. I may meet with a company for 5 years in a row before they have a project. Yeah. But when they've got a project, they're going to think of us because I've had so many meetings with them. So it's a lot of work. It can be a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding. Obviously, you lose a lot more than you win, but when you do win, and use Central Maloney for an example, I love to ride out there and look at all the cars in the parking lot, because those people are working and they've got good jobs because of the efforts of this community. Absolutely. And that in itself is rewarding for me in knowing that we're doing a good job.
Absolutely. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Kind of a pipe dream kind of question. If you could recruit one dream company to Bay County tomorrow, who would it be?
I'm partial to aviation. Yep. It would be an Airbus, or maybe even from a defense standpoint, Raytheon.
Gotcha.
Pratt & Whitney.
Yep.
It would definitely be in the aviation arena.
Awesome. All right, last question. If someone listening today is considering starting a business or relocating to Bay County, what would you tell them?
To give me a call.
There you go. With that being said, how can somebody reach out to y'all?
Yeah, we have a website, bayeda.com, and we're very active on LinkedIn, and we're very active on Facebook, so you can follow us on both of those social platforms.
There you go. Good stuff. Becca, well, I appreciate you coming in today. I know you got to get going, and we got Keith coming up on the phone here in just a couple minutes. So I appreciate you coming in, and, of course, appreciate everything you and your team and this whole community do for driving the economy here in Bay County.
Thank you, Ryan. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. We'll have to do it again sometime for sure.
Thank you.
Talk about your college athletic career.
Yeah.
Over there at Troy. When it changed from Troy State to Troy at some point,
yeah,
right?
It was after I graduated.
Gotcha.
I still call it Troy State.
Yep. You got to, the original thing.
That's on my diploma.
There you go. Again, well, I appreciate you coming in. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, but before we do, I want to talk about another great local business that is Panhandle Credit Union. At Panhandle Credit Union, quality relationships is what they are all about. Whether it's donating to a community event, sponsoring your child's sports team, that they are here in the community to help us out. Check out their great banking products, loans, savings account, checkings accounts, mortgages, whatever your banking needs are, Panhandle Credit Union can handle it. Visit any branch location or head online to panhandlecu.org. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by Keith Fleming to talk about the Players Championship coming up this week. Becca, I appreciate you coming in one more time.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be. And welcome back to episode 52 of the Inside Drive podcast. I thought that was great stuff with Bay County EDA President Becca Hardin talking about what's going on locally here in the economy and all the amazing stuff that her and her team do, not only everybody here in Bay County as well. But it's been a few weeks. Excited to have him back on the show. It's a big week in the golf world. Some people call it the fifth major, which is not actually a major, but it's such a big tournament that a lot of people put a lot of weight into it. But it's our good friend, golf DFS and betting expert Keith Fleming. Keith, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back. I was worried I got booted, for giving you some bad plays. The first tournament we covered, it didn't go great. But always enjoy talking golf with you, Ryan. Where do you stand on the fifth major deal? Because I can't stand it. It's a big event, but let's not call it a major.
It's certainly not a major, but I get the hype behind it. I mean, I guess you could, lump in the Tour Championship a little bit as well in the same category. So I wouldn't ever call this a major. It doesn't earn the right to be called a major. Those other majors have been around for so long. So certainly is a big time tournament.
It devalues the four majors. I think the only, if you want to talk fifth major, to me, it's an Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
Because, that's once every 4 years. I think it's going to end up being a huge deal for the golfers that, end up winning one. Because again, if you say are a great golfer for 20 years, you might get 5 chances to win one.
Yeah.
To where there's 4 majors every year. So I think that has a legit case to being like a fifth major. But I just again love Sawgrass, love this event, love the tourney. Let's not call it the fifth major.
Yeah, there you go. We've eliminated that from the narrative in the golf world. Is it not the fifth major according to Keith and Ryan? So, speaking of this particular golf tournament, let's dive into it. Pete Dye, another Pete Dye masterpiece that'll just take your lunch if you're not ready for it.
You've played it, right?
Yeah, I have. It was once was like the Harbor Town once is good enough. The Ocean Course, once is good enough. And then Sawgrass, once is good enough. Again, I'd like to play all of them again, but I've got those 3 checked off. So they're such brutal tests of golf that you can't make mistakes. And you can hit good shots and still just get punished, and that's sometimes demoralizing out there on the golf course.
Yeah, and if you're somebody who does not drive the ball well, and I'm talking about for the amateurs, like the pros, it's a different, obviously their misses are different than ours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a fun course to play. I mean, there's literally water that comes into play on 17 of the 18 holes. Now for the pros, it's really, I think there's 12 water danger holes, which is the most on PGA Tour. To your point, this is just an absolute beast. I think it's maybe the best designed golf course in the world, because if you look at the results and then what they were trying to do when they made this event, it's exactly what they were going for. There is no one like type or kind of golfer who thrives at this venue. There is a million ways to get around it. I love that, we talked about this last year, 7 holes. If you play a fade, it's a huge advantage. 7 holes, if you play a draw, it's a big advantage. And then obviously there's the 4 par 3. So literally every par 4 and par 5, you're at an advantage one way or the other if you play a fade or a draw, and it's evenly divided. This event, though, it's really changed since it was moved to March 6 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prior to that, we saw a lot more long shots, kind of out of nowhere guys winning this event. Since it's been moved to March, if you're betting this week, betting outrights, good luck. Plus 1,800 is the average winner odds over the 6 years since it's been moved to March. That is yuck. That is not great value for betting outright winners. Everybody that has won since they moved it to March again 6 years ago entered the event top 10 in scoring average. They had at least 2 top 5s entering the event. 5 of the 6 winners already had 3 top 5s in the calendar year entering the event. So this has really turned into a form tournament where you want guys
that are playing really
great
good on the way to the tournament. Yeah, absolutely. This is not a tournament, like you just said, that you get these guys that come out of nowhere that aren't playing good golf. You don't just all of a sudden turn it on at TPC Sawgrass, the stadium course.
100%. Now, there is some type of players that I think they can thrive at this venue, and we see that. And those are the guys that are very accurate off the tee. Guys like Russell Henley. The guy that I'm circling this year big time is Minwoo Lee, who he fits all the statistics we just talked about. He's top 10 in scoring average. He already has 2 top 5s this season on the PGA Tour. He's got a good track record here, but more importantly, he is one of the most accurate drivers on tour for somebody who can really move it. Like he's one of those few guys that is, like in the top 25% of driving distance, but also in the top 25% of driving accuracy. And then you have so many shots that kind of come from that 125 to 175 range that your elite ball strikers from that range are going to thrive as well. Somebody like Tom Hoge, who has a great stellar record here, he's another guy that drives it really straight, and then he's maybe the best wedge, short to middle iron player on the planet, and that's a big reason why he's finished 3rd 2 of the last 3 years. The top 10 in Sawgrass, just in terms of strokes gained total, since they've moved it, again, a few years ago, Scheffler, Beate, Hideki, Connors, Siwoo Kim, Ludwig, Aaron Rai, Rory, Justin Thomas, Tommy Fleetwood. There's 5 players who enter this week top 25 in driving accuracy and top 25 in recent approach play. These are guys you should pay attention to. They are Siwoo Kim, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Colin Morikawa, Adam Scott, Russell Henley, and that's kind of where I'm looking at this week. I mean, especially for the outright winners, I'm going to look at guys that are, kind of the betting favorites. It's not fun, but I don't think that anybody above 50, 60 to 1 has a great shot of winning this event. I think that, play your DraftKings lineups this week because I think there is some great value in it. But betting outrights, it's kind of difficult to get too creative with who you're playing. It's interesting that Scheffler's odds have gone all the way up to plus 430. Now, I don't know what's going on with his irons, but all of a sudden, he's not the machine that he's been his entire career with his irons. I believe he's 88th right now in strokes gained approach. He's been no worse than third the last 3 seasons. So, but I like Scheffler. Did you hear his comments last week? I don't know if you got to talk about that when they asked him about his concerns with his round one scoring.
I did not, but I think I saw some stuff floating around out there, but I never had a chance to actually read it. And
So
we
I,
certainly
I
did not
love
talk
the
about it.
Scheffler chip on your shoulder, Scheffler.
Yeah, that's
And
scary.
it was unusual to hear him say something like this. But when the reporter asked it, he just quickly went, look, I was in the top 5 for round one scoring the last 3 seasons. I'm not really worried about it. No, it's no concern. I like that saltiness from him.
Yeah.
He looks angry. You saw what happened on 18. He threw his golf ball in the water after his Saturday round. He's not happy. And the thing that's funny is even with him hitting his iron so bad, he's only had one bad performance, really, and that was last week at the API. Other than that, he's still playing great. And I just think there's a good chance he'll get his irons going. So plus 430, I think that's worth a look. Again, Morikawa to me I think he's the most likely guy to win this event. Nobody is playing better tee to green. You can get him at 22-1. Love those odds. Minwoo Lee, I said he's 41-1. He's somebody that just fits the build here. He's had a good record at this venue. I think this is a great place for him. He's great at scrambling. He's great, again, off the tee, pretty accurate. And then some of the guys that if you want to get into the longer looking odds, Jake Knapp is playing incredible. He's 50-1. You got Straka, who just anytime it's a ball striker's course, he should be considered. He's 54-1. Adam Scott is now got ball speed of 190 miles an hour off the tee, which is insane for a guy his age. And he's still top 25 in driving accuracy. So I think that's interesting. And then the two, again, long shots, they're not high odds guys, but Sahith Theegala is playing really well again. He's 82-1. But Aaron Rai at 100-1 to me is the guy that you got to really pay attention to. This is somebody this is his home course. He's there all the time. They said you can find him on the back range just about any day that he's not, obviously at a venue for the PGA Tour. He plays very well tee to green, one of the straightest drivers on the planet, one of the best wedge players, for that, mid to low iron playing. And obviously he knows these greens. If he's playing it all the time,
that's a huge advantage.
I think he's a great play. You can get him again at 100-1 to win. I also like you can get him at plus 610 to top 10, which I think is good odds. And maybe my favorite bet is he's plus 265 just to top 20. So that's somebody I'm really paying attention to.
2-1 odds, almost 3-1 odds just to top 20 for him is crazy. And as I mentioned on the show last week,
top 22 of the last 3.
Yep.
So he's done it there.
As you mentioned last week to me, which I mentioned on the show last week, Hard Rock Bets, you can now parlay finishes. This is a great tournament to parlay some finishes out there to increase those odds. And I would certainly have Aaron Rai in that top 20 finishing in my parlay, whatever it ends up being. But such a great opportunity to make a little bit more money. Keith, is this a DK, death, taxes, and Scotty Scheffler into cash games?
I am doing it this week, and it's twofold. One is I think that because of his quote-unquote recent struggles, and again, big quotations because it's really not struggles, I think he's going to be less owned. And the other thing is just with his pricing this week and with the pricing of the rest of the guys that I really like and would want to play anyway, it's pretty easy to build Scotty Scheffler lines, which there's a lot of weeks that is not the case, right? Like you're going, man, I don't have too many guys. But like, for instance, right now, my biggest entry cash lineup, it's got Scheffler, but I'm also able to put in that lineup Ricky Fowler at 7,400. Fowler is another guy that if you look at like form, his tee to green numbers and everything, he should be able to contend here. And he loves this venue. He loves these. He loves Ross golf courses. Minwoo Lee, who I've spoke glowingly about, I've got him in that lineup. Adam Scott, who again I've talked about, he's in that lineup. Sahith Theegala, and then Ryan Fox is the only guy under 7K in that group. Not one of those players has missed a cut this season. And I feel like 4 of those guys have a chance to compete and potentially win the tournament. Like that's something that you can do again, because there's also naps in that middle 7K range. Like there's a lot of players, Sepp Straka's in that middle 7K range. I think it's
I
easier
love
than,
him in these big tournaments. He's my guy in any major and any big time tournament. Sepp Straka is a good one in my book.
he plays tough courses so well
He
because
does.
he's somebody that's just such a ball striker. He's going to be able to, and in the tougher events, I think putting doesn't matter as much. And I know that sounds stupid. I'm not talking about obviously if he's going to win it, he's going to have to putt at least, pretty well. But to make the cut and to contend, sometimes you can just hit the ball well enough that it doesn't matter. And that's, again, something since they moved the tournament to March, of the total strokes gained of the winners, 62% have come from ball striking, strokes gained ball striking. The tour average is 52. So you're talking about 10% higher than any other venue. It is so important to be able to, hit the ball well, do well in those strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained approach. And then again, I really leaned into driver accuracy. If you want to look into, like some people have done total driving or strokes gained off the tee, totally understandable. But the guys that thrive here get the ball in the fairway because
When you have
you
to.
know this. That's what I'm saying. And you know this. What I love about this venue, the closer your tee shot goes to the hazard, the better angle you have into the greens.
Yep.
And again, this is where it was just a great design course. So the more you risk, right,
The greater
bringing the
reward.
water into play, you're going to have a much better angle
Yep.
into
Such a
these greens,
beautifully
which are
designed golf
complex.
course.
So beautiful, man. It's like, I do. I think it's the best design golf course in the world. When you think what they were trying to accomplish, the fact that, nobody's ever won this event 3 times, like there's just a ton of stuff that's really cool. Now that could be changed this year if Rory or Scheffler end up winning it, but history tells us they probably won't.
Yeah, absolutely. Just such a great, another Pete Dye diabolical masterpiece that makes you want to bite off more than you can chew for that bitter reward, which you just said. But easily, too, you can mess that trying to get a little risky, and then all of a sudden now you're making a triple, and it's a disaster.
Yep.
You can't make big numbers out there, that's for sure. But there's also some holes out there that you can go after, too, like 16. 16 is obviously a great finish on the final 3 holes. Great opportunity to make an eagle on that one. Keith, talk a little bit about the cheat sheet on fantasy6pack.net for all the betting stuff. It's got all the plays in one place for everybody to be a part of.
Yeah, I give total credit to Joe Bond for coming up with this idea. He's the owner and CEO of Fantasy Six Pack. We were just talking about what's the best way for me to get my golf content out. Obviously, if you hear me talk about this, I'm passionate about it. I love it. I love data. And the cheat sheets is kind of what we came up with, where I just basically have each week, there's both a DFS and betting cheat sheet. The DFS is broken into 3 categories, which are horses for courses. Those are guys that historically played well at this venue, like the cash core guys, which are guys that I feel confident, like you can anchor your lineups with. And then the values, which are typically 7,500 and below. And then if you go to the notes in that section, because he told me I could, just put a line or 2. That's not my style.
Yeah,
there's about 100 to 150 words on every single golfer that I provide, because if I'm going to give a guy, I want, people to know that I thought about this and there's a reason for it. And the same thing for the bets. I have basically, my betting card for the week. I give guys that I like to win, top 5, top 10, top 20. And then again, you can go into the notes. It has the reasoning for it. The betting this season has not been great. Last week was a prime example. At the Gala at 19-1 to top 5. He finished 6th. It's just, kind of been that kind of year, but we've been right there. Morikawa was obviously in contention, so it's the Gala. We had both of them to win last week. And I feel pretty good about this week. And again, if history repeats itself, which 6 years is most definitely a trend, the winner this year is going to be top 10 in scoring average right now, and somebody that has multiple top 5 finishes this season. There's not a huge list of guys that have done that this year. I think there's 12 total, or excuse me, the 10 for the top 10 scoring average, but there's a few others that have multiple top 5s that are also kind of in that top 20. But every single one, top 10 in scoring average, at least 2 top 5s. So you need to go check, obviously those stats out before you fill out your lineups and fill out any betting cards.
Well, and the beautiful thing about that is you do all that homework to find who those people are, and you put that out there for people. There's no shame in just copying what you put out. I mean, you're the one doing all the behind the scenes work with the data and all this stuff. And again, you can head over to fantasy6pack.net. Just click on the golf tab and look for that betting cheat sheet. I believe it's behind a very, very inexpensive paywall, right, Keith? But once you'll
Yes, sir. $8.50 a month if you use the promo code F6PDFS. You will, I promise,
make that
between
back.
it,
Yeah.
the baseball stuff, the football, like there's so much good content. People are a lot smarter than me, giving basketball, baseball bets, etc. There's just a ton of good stuff. It's definitely worth it. We also now have data on there for golf where you can check out the strokes gain, recent results at the event. Like there's a lot of cool stuff. We keep building out the golf part of the website.
Data is so important when you're betting, not only on any sport, but especially on golf. There's just so much that you can put into a pick that justifies why you're picking that particular person. Keith, before we let you go today, what do you think about the Mike Evans trade to the San Francisco, or Mike Evans signing it with the San Francisco 49ers?
My favorite free agent move by any team, without a doubt. And I get the haters and a lot of people. It's fair. Like Mike Evans has hurt a lot. I get that. And the Niners have maybe the worst luck of any organization in the world when it comes to injuries. But if you look at what Brock Purdy thrives at, which he's so good throwing the ball down the field, taking those deep shots. And Mike Evans is still that dude in that part of the game. And I just think that he is going to open up the entire offense. We saw this year, I think defenses started really creeping up on CMC because they knew that it was hard for Purdy
deep threat
to go over the top. Yep. That's
nobody.
It. And you didn't. I mean, you lose Ayuk, right? Like you just – a bunch of stuff happened. You couldn't keep Purcell healthy. Like you had guys that you thought were going to fill that role, but they didn't. And that's the other thing I like about the Evans move is you still have other guys. Like if say Purcell can stay healthy this year, he was really good when he played. So it's not like this is the only plan, but I just think it's a match made in heaven. And Shanahan is as good as anybody on the planet of getting guys one-on-one or wide open, by play design. And who can cover Mike Evans, one-on-one? Still at, 32 years old, I don't think there's many corners in the league that can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about it. I just hope he doesn't get the power station injuries like everybody else seems to have been getting. So
y'all are due for a healthy year. I mean, come on, like seriously.
We need it. That's for sure. And I'm going to look at some of the over yardage totals for Brock this before we start the season. I'm probably going to get some overs on that one because
touchdown too. Evans catches a ton of touchdowns typically.
He's been a fantasy player of mine for the last several years, and he's been very rewarding. Very rewarding. Well, Keith, we appreciate your time so much, as always. Follow Keith on Twitter/X. That's at KEITHFLEMMING. And certainly enjoy the Players' Championship this upcoming 4 days once we start on Thursday. Appreciate you as always, Keith.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind, too, if you're around at 9 p.m. tonight, YouTube, Fantasy Six Pack channel, we're doing the 2 off the tee Players Preview. Be me and Scott Porter, my co-host, and the great Kelly Singh is going to come on and help us out. So we'll have a lot of fun. Drop, your comments or questions in the chats. We'll get to them, and we appreciate you guys.
There you go. That'll be 8 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. That is.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. That's what I got to do because it's so confusing. But again, that's the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. Keith, 2 off the tee with Scott Porter and Kelly Singh. Lots of great content comes from those awesome golf experts. But one more time, Keith, I appreciate you, and I'm sure I'll talk to you very soon.
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. You're the man. Have a great day, buddy.
You too. Thank you. Bye. I'm going to get my headphones off real quick. I'm going to finish with some local sports action. We got a great show coming up on Thursday. We'll have, obviously, not Jay this Thursday, as I believe he is up there in Georgia doing some lessons and stuff like that. But David Hayes will be in here, and we'll be joined by Mosley Dolphins head football coach Tommy Joe Wooden. But speaking of coaches locally, there was some breaking news that came out. I think last week we talked about how Jonah Hammond, the 3-time state champion, the Arnold boys soccer coach, was stepping down from coaching the Arnold boys soccer team. It was announced yesterday that he'll be taking over the Bay High varsity head coaching position for boys soccer. which is basically a full circle moment there for Coach Jonah. He is coming home to Bay High. He currently teaches there. He went, I believe he played there. I may be mistaken, but I believe he played there. And that's why it's kind of a full circle moment there for Coach Jonah. Watch out for the Bay High Tornadoes men's soccer team next year. It should be a really good one. And then obviously, as I always talk about on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but come after this week, and won't be able to talk about that as much because there won't be anything really going on that'll involve any of the sports that I'm involved with on the middle school side of things. Do want to mention you've got the girls semifinals and the boys semifinals in both soccer and basketball coming up this afternoon at 4 p.m. On the boys basketball side of things, you've got number 1 seed Mowat taking on number 4 seed Jinx. That'll be at Mowat, and then you've got Bayhaven, the number 6 seed, taking on the number 2 seed Rutherford. That'll be at Rutherford over there in the gym. And then, of course, on the girls' soccer side, you've got number 1 seed University Academy taking on number 4 seed Bayhaven, a repeat of last Tuesday's regular season game. And what's kind of ironic, this is the first semifinal matchup in a long time between these two programs, because typically, the last 5 years, it's been University Academy and Bayhaven Charter Academy in the championship game. This year, that obviously won't happen with either UA or Bayhaven moving on to take on the winner of the Mowat Surfside semifinal game. All of top 4 seeds advanced out of the quarterfinals and are playing each other again this afternoon at 4 p.m. But I want to give a big shout out and a big good luck to Coach Ian and on the rest of the girls there on the UA girls soccer team. And also we've got coming up tonight. I say we because I'll be on the mic this afternoon for the Arnold and Freeport girls flag football game. Why that's notable is Arnold has yet to lose a game and has yet to given up a single point in their regular season campaign. They are 5-0 and have held every team scoreless. So we'll see if they can continue that trend coming up this evening. That game will be at 7 p.m. The JV game will be right before that at 5:30 p.m. As I always mention, I highly encourage everyone to get out there and watch some great girls flag football. It's the newest sport here in Bay County. I think it's exciting. I think it's great for the girls, and I think it's a lot of fun to talk about and be a part of. And then real quick, some of the local games coming up in the market. We've got Bay playing Cleveland as well in girls flag football. Don't ask me where Cleveland is. They haven't played a game yet this season, according to Max Preps. And then softball, you got Rocky Bayou Christian taking on Bay High. Then you've got Arnold traveling over to Destin. Arnold is 6-2 on the young season. North Bayhaven taking on Liberty County in varsity baseball. As well in baseball, you got Knoxville Central coming to Mosley. Mosley is 8-2 on the season. And again, in softball, you got Mariana taking on Mosley. In girls flag football, you've also got Niceville taking on Rutherford in that brand new beautiful field over there in the Margaret Champlain Athletic Complex. Brand new turf field over there that'll be used for practicing for the football team. Soccer team will play their varsity games there, and then the flag football will play their varsity games there as well. Rutherford will be taking on Bay High. And again, as I mentioned, girls flag football, Freeport is traveling down to a Gavlax Stadium this evening, 7 p.m. Arnold trying to go 6-0 and trying to keep their opponents scoreless. We'll finish with the Firefly ad, and then we'll get out of here. Again, Thursday coming up, we've got Tommy Joe Witten and David Hayes will be in studio with us. Next week is spring break. We'll be out of town. I will not have any podcast next week, but we'll resume on the 24th of March, and then it'll finish out the month of March, and all of a sudden it'll be April. But if you're looking for an unforgettable dining experience on Florida's Gulf Coast, there's only one place to go. That is Firefly, located in Panama City Beach, where casual elegance meets world-class cuisine. Whether you're celebrating a special night out or just want a phenomenal food with seaside vibe, Firefly delivers. From award-winning fresh Gulf seafood and perfectly seared steaks to a world-class sushi bar and signature cocktails, every dish is crafted with passion and flair. Step inside, you'll find an atmosphere that's warm, welcoming, and refined, ideal for date nights, celebrations, or simply savoring an evening with friends. With an ever-evolving menu and a dedicated service staff, Firefly is more than dinner, it's an experience. Make your reservation today and taste why Firefly is one of the top dining destinations in Panama City Beach, if not the entire Gulf Coast. Visit their menu online, enjoy coastal fresh favorites, and become part of the tradition. Firefly, located in the shops of Edgewater. Book your reservation now at fireflypcb.com and dine with distinction. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in to today's episode. Loved having Becca Harder, the president of the Bay EDA, in studio with us. This will be posted on YouTube, all your podcasts, and of course, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. So I appreciate you subscribing, following, commenting, all that wonderful stuff. Y'all have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.